What's up?
What's up, buddy boy?
El Guapo. We're recording now, buddy. Welcome to Trash Talk. I'm Kenny Powers. That's Guapo. We are 2023 Nobo thru hikers who just got off the trail.
Just finished the trip.
Just finished the trail. Started this to kind of keep in contact with the community and our friends for 2023 and beyond and see what else it does. So yeah, welcome to Trash Talk, the Thru Hikers podcast. How's New Jersey?
It's a little chilly today. Definitely not as chilly as you are, but it definitely dropped down. We had 80 degrees the past week, which is friggin' radical. Mm-hmm. But fall is here.
We went from 70 down to 9 degrees yesterday. It was cold.
Pretty rough.
Cold. We had like 7 inches of snow, and then now it's all melting, so that's good. Just settling in off trail and figuring it out.
It's the best you can do, right?
Yeah, I think that's what everybody in the class of 2023 and maybe even 2022 are still trying to figure things out.
I would agree with that, probably.
Well, I guess the topic for today is we're going to introduce ourselves, give you a little bit of backstory on us and what led us to the trail, what led us decide to go be crazy and hike 2,198.4
miles
or so-ish. But everybody had their hike for their hike, and that's one thing we're going to talk about. So
let's get into it, baby. So, Mr. Kenny Powers, if you do me a favor and just turn your head 90 degrees to either direction. Oh, you see that funky thing back there, ladies and gentlemen? Why don't you go ahead and let the people know what that's all about?
Why do they call me Kenny Powers? I guess that would be because my hair. Kenny Powers is a Danny McBride character from Eastbound and Down. Google Kenny Powers, you'll see the resemblance, I reckon. I had a mullet a couple years ago because I went as Kenny Powers for a Halloween costume, which is not information that you all had, Guapo, when you started calling me Kenny Powers, because I started hiking, I had the mullet, and they started calling me Kenny, and I was like, well, I got something to tell you. I won a costume contest as Kenny Powers, so that kind of stuck. I was, always loud, always talking with people, always talking shit to people, so it was kind of fitting. And Guapo here, if you just look at him, he looks like he deserves to have a parole officer. He does not have a parole officer, but he definitely looks like he should. And he looks like Gandalf. So he is Gandalf with a parole officer.
I do not have a parole officer, just to be clear. I'm a good boy.
Yeah, but I just was very upset you didn't start carrying a giant stick.
Well, yeah, I guess. I actually
you have to
use my trekking poles at the end either.
Well, I didn't use my trekking poles after Uncle Johnny's.
Yeah, I wasn't using it much at all. Using it for one of the tents that I had, but that was about it. But shout out to 2 minutes. It was the 6 Moon Design Lunar Solo. Awesome tent, by the way. Mm-hmm. We'll talk more about that down the road in another episode, gear and stuff. But shout out to 2 minutes, the guy who gave me my name. It actually wasn't Guapo at first. It was Mr. Hat, because I had that ridiculous fucking straw hat. And every night, Pete or 2 minutes would say, he would say goodnight to everybody. It would always be, good night, Mr. Hat. And I'd be like, shut the fuck up. I'm not Mr. Hat. I don't want to be Mr. Hat. So that was Gandalf. And then it evolved into Gandalf with a parole officer, because that's just way more accurate.
I believe it was in Franklin when I said you look like you have a parole officer.
Yeah, maybe so.
So we both gave each other our names pretty much. Part of them, So, and if you don't know what trail names are, it's the nicknames we go by on trail just to be free and not have to be held to who you used to be. It usually comes from something you either do stupid, you look like something, you keep doing something over and over again.
Another thing about trail names is you don't necessarily have to take the trail name given to you. It does have to
it's a choice.
Have to be accepted by you. So if you do feel like people are using something to actually make fun of you, stand up for yourself. Don't take that shit.
Yeah. And
Yeah. Also embrace the embarrassment. That's what it's all about.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah. Shout out to, Mummy.
Shout out to Snapshot, our producer, whose name is very fitting. Fantastic photographer. Took some really, really sick shots of a lot of hikers on the trail,
including me.
And
we'll put that picture up. Yeah,
pretty good stuff.
Yeah, I'll put my picture up. There you go.
I almost used it as my yearbook picture, but I did decide not to at the very last minute.
But. Yeah. So I mean, the reason why I was saying it, shout out to Mummy, is because she took the embarrassment of always being bandaged up, and that's embrace it, keep moving.
100%.
You gotta accept it. Like, hey, maybe you just keep doing that same thing, or maybe that is the issue.
Right.
It's an endearing thing. It's an endearing thing to accept it. Okay, so I mean, tell the audience and our friends that are listening now, what brought you to the trail? What made you decide to do this epic adventure?
Hey guys, Guap here. So I first learned about the trail many, many, many moons ago. When I was 17, I was a bad kid and in trouble and sent to a program up in Maine, up in the woods of Maine in the middle of the winter. Survival boot camp type program for troubled kids. We lived in the woods, and that's where I first stumbled upon a white blaze and learned about the Appalachian Trail. And kind of always wanted to go back and complete it one day. A little bit of a backstory, what actually brought me to it and made it happen was I got married a bunch of years ago, and to someone I love very much, but it didn't work out, and I fell into a really dark place. Very depressed, couldn't do much, and I was just sad. I was not happy with the person that I was, and I didn't like the way that things were going for me. So I figured I needed a change, and that's when I thought about the trail and jumping back out, seeing what it's all about. Single dad, 23-year-old son. So he's an adult, and I had the opportunity to be able to just go for a while. And so that's kind of what brought me out there. Needed a change, needed a lifestyle change, needed to do some major healing, and kind of grow as a man and as a human.
Yeah,
it's pretty much. It was hard.
Yeah,
it was a hard go.
I think everyone that ends up stepping foot off or stepping onto the trail and actually hiking it is there for a reason. Life's been hard on them somehow, some way. You want to find out why.
Yeah. It's easy to slip into those dark places.
It is. And those dark places happen on trail too. But, with this community we have, and you learn while you're out there, everyone's there to pull you out of that darkness and keep moving forward.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So
there's a lot of love in these woods, baby.
There's a lot of love, and that's you gotta bring it. You gotta meet it where it. I don't fucking know what I'm saying. Edit this out.
No, man, you're right. You're right on the money, my brother. You're right on the money.
I had a thought, and then it just left me.
You got to meet it head on and go grab it. And I think that the trail is a beautiful thing for someone who's looking to do some healing and growing, because it does challenge you. It does push you daily to do things that you didn't think necessarily that you were capable of. That first day on trail is a very hard day. Not that it gets easier, because it doesn't, but it also does. You get better. You grow.
It's very much the only easy day was yesterday.
Yeah, for sure.
It's for sure. That's cliche as fuck, but that's the truth of it. Every day sucks. It's uphill until it's not. But that's life too, and so how that, I decided to do this trail because I hated the world. I hated myself. Uh, Needed to change. I graduated high school and I joined the army. Went to war twice. But was at war with myself the whole time. Never felt like I really fit in anywhere much. Like really felt that I was there. Like there for a reason. And so went to war. I got diagnosed with, I have PTS. I have traumatic brain injury. I didn't like who I was anymore. I was drinking all the time, doing a lot of drugs. Luckily I found a documentary while I was on drugs and watched it. And I was like, yeah, maybe one day if I ever get clean or whatever, maybe I'll do that. And end up getting clean, end up having to make a major life choice and decision on what the hell I wanted to do. Started backpacking with my sister and decided I was going to hike the Appalachian Trail. And about 300 days later, 380 days later, I stepped foot off at Springer. Yeah, I needed healing. I needed to learn who I was. I needed to learn how to love myself. I wanted to be a better father. And at the time, I wanted to be a better husband. But, the trail, even though I had a really hard time personally while I was out there, it was happening for a reason. And I think that when you get that call and you're finally wanting and willing and able to answer it for yourself, to be selfish in life and actually fix your shit so you don't have to have as much issues and you can help more people later on down the road.
It definitely comes from within. Like you said, you got to be able to help yourself to be able to help others.
Absolutely.
And that's the key to it all. So,
learning to take help from others.
Yeah, absolutely.
Us as men, that's been shunned, like don't ask for help. Do it your fucking self.
It's a big kick to the pride.
But yeah, fuck your pride.
Right. Well, at the end of the day, who'd have thought?
Yeah, like if that would be my one daily or my one podcast suggestion for anyone wanting to thru hike is fuck your pride. Don't be proud.
But also be very proud.
Be proud, but don't be, I don't know. There's a healthy level of pride.
Yeah, don't be a dick.
Don't be afraid to ask for help.
Right. Because you will need it.
Or accept help.
Yeah.
Or accept help.
So Kenny, you said you wanted to be a better father and family man and all that stuff. Being that I also am a dad, I get it, 100%. When, how old were you when you had your first kid?
22.
I know. And were you already in the military?
I was in the military. I was stationed in Alaska. I had just got back from my first deployment. I'd been married for like a little over a year at that point. We got married right before my first deployment. Shout out to the wife. She's a homie now. We had our oldest daughter, Savannah. When I was 22, she was 21. So I started early.
Yeah. Well, you want to talk about starting early?
Well, we both started early.
Yeah. My story goes a little different. Again, I was in trouble. I was a bad delinquent. I knocked her up when I was 17, dropped out of high school. We ran away to Florida while she was pregnant. Took us 2 weeks.
How'd that work for you?
Didn't work. Well, it was fun. It was an adventure. But it took us 2 weeks. We left with $24 from up in here in Jersey. And it took us 2 weeks to get to Daytona Beach. And eventually we had gotten arrested. We had panhandled our way from New Jersey to Florida. We were going to go stay with her mom and got arrested, being juveniles and put in a shelter. And that's what led me to inevitably this program, Summit Achievement is what it was called, that introduced me to this trail. But being a young dad, I know the stresses, man. They are, it was, I couldn't imagine while also being in the military, what that adds to it. But it ain't easy. It ain't easy, brother. Fortunately for me, it was just the one.
I
But
was honestly at that point, like after my first deployment, I had PTS. We all did.
yeah,
But you couldn't go get help for it yet,
right.
without being bad upon. Um, I was just kind of existing back then. Like I had some great memories, and I really didn't stress too much because right after we had her, I had probably two years between deployments, and ended up she got pregnant again, right before my second deployment. Um, Luckily, I got to come home just in time to see him born.
Nice.
Which
That's
doesn't
right.
happen much. Doesn't
Yeah,
happen much. I got pretty lucky. I was able to be in the military and be at all three of my children's births at that point. I was able to be there, and fatherhood was great, but my marriage was a wreck, and I I held a lot of animosity back toward my the was wife, for no other reason other than being prideful and not wanting to admit I was fucked up. So I didn't get to do much parenting with those three children because of kind of my actions, her actions, being selfish, always have to be right. It's never a good thing. It's taken many a year, almost a decade now, for me to be back in my oldest kids' lives. And then once I did get divorced, got another lady pregnant, married her, have a child with her, and we were married. Well, I guess we're still married right now, but that's changing. This trail is, and even backpacking, starting to backpack and get myself healthy and really wanting to work on mental health to be better and be in their lives and to do the best I can. But I have to love myself and take care of myself first. So I had to learn to be selfish, so I guess being selfish has turned me around.
Being selfish to be selfless.
Yeah, kind of thing. Like I want to be my shit together so, I can focus on them. Yeah, times get tough. They don't ever get easier.
Nope, you just learn how to deal with them a little differently.
Yeah, that's, when I came out there on trail to I guess fix, it was amazing how quickly I was finding myself working on fixing those, and then it was like, oh, well, I kind of have that figured out now. So what's a deeper thing that I can work on? And as I was doing this, you can quickly make the mistake of assuming that, I was working on my relationship at the time. I'll do some backstory on that, a little bit more in depth, I guess. As I went out there to be a better husband and a better father, it was very much I was trying to work on my relationship while I was doing this, and I was assuming that she was making kind of a betterment changes for herself as I was, which is foolish. Like that's setting an expectation that's not verbalized to her. And I fought for a really long time on trail for that, and then found out some stuff and realized it wasn't worth it. I've always had a hard time in life with letting go of things, letting go of people, holding grudges about it or being upset and feeling, oh well, this person doesn't want to be with me, so woe is me. At that point in the trail was teaching me, like, I had been in a tramway with you since
Yeah.
Hawk Mountain for about 150 miles, I'd say. And I had to let go of some people. Like, okay, well, that taught me, like, it's okay, like I'll see them again.
Yeah, right.
It taught me to let people go, and if they don't want to be around, they don't want to be around. The real ones will. The real ones will wait for you. The real ones will do this, do that, as long as it's feasible. Honestly, I learned to let go of it and just move on and be happy. Like, there's no reason to force someone that doesn't want to be in your life to be in your life anymore. I have to better myself so that I can be a better father. And it just reverts back to now I get to focus all that on being a better father and a better friend to people. And, that, I guess that's kind of that.
Yeah, I think that's very powerful because like I don't, for me, it's very similar, but that's not necessarily what I thought that I was going out there for. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, before I got on trail, my mind was all about like, oh, get over your ex-wife, you idiot. You know, like figure it out, move on. And
Yeah.
it turned out that very much there was a lot more, um, I don't, deeper issues that were preventing me from being able to accomplish that goal. Right?
Yeah.
Get over your ex-wife. I don't know that I necessarily ever will. Right? And that's the reality, is because
Yeah.
that's the understanding that I've come to realize. You know,
Yeah.
it's all this other shit, all this other stuff, the anger, the depression, you know, I don't know if you know my story, but I also had PTSD, not from military experience, but you know, a home break-in. I was stabbed 3 times in the back, almost died. Um, Stuff like that that's just hanging out in the back of your mind always. Um,
Yeah.
Coming to grips with those sorts of things allowed me to come to that realization that, you know, life does still go on, and you are able to be a happier, healthier person for the loved ones, for the people around you, and the people that you choose to keep in your life.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. That's epic.
Yeah. I learned so many lessons out there that I didn't expect to. I didn't realize I'd be so open to wanting change in my life, to wanting to end the chaos of what I had going on, and allowing myself to just to get over it. Just let it go. Get out of my own way and just see what I can do. You know, by challenging myself on trail, by like, you know, I'm gonna see how many miles I can do today. Or like, hey, you know, let's just do a long day. Let's do some night hiking. Let's go to this point. Let's go living the trail,
Yeah,
going and slowing down sometimes, but speeding up to go see this beautiful sunset. Or I'm not a big sunrise person, but some people are. Some sunrises are great, but other than that, it's just kind of, oh, sun's here now. It's bright.
yeah.
Um,
My pillow is pretty great too. So
Yeah, my pillow. I prefer to sleep, and
yeah,
you know, whatever. I'm always a late starter all the time, but the trail gives you what you deserve, and views. Like to me, how I see it, if the view is fucked, well, I gotta find something pretty between here and where I can't see anymore.
yeah,
Like it's making me look closer to yourself. Like, hey, it's not always about what's 20 miles that way. It's what's 15 feet in front of you.
yeah. It's what's right here, right now.
And if you look at that perspective in life as you're in yourself, I don't need to find out what I'm doing in 2 years,
Right.
in my opinion. Sometimes you got to turn around and look in the mirror and go, what the fuck? There's no view here. I got to refocus this. And I mean, that's how I started looking at it myself was, sure, I need to know what I'm going to do in a year, or I want to, like, this is what I want to do in a year. But then, okay, well, what's 3 feet in front of me that I need to take care of now? The one step at a time method.
Yeah, yeah. Right. Oof.
You know, some days you're going to crank at 20, and some days you're going to do 0.4.
Or you're gonna zero for 4 or 5 days
Or
and get
you're going to
back to
zero.
free flow.
You
Oops.
know,
7
that's
days.
kind of the thing, and that's how life happens too. And you got to be okay with it. And be like, just roll with it. Like,
Amen.
okay, that's what I found so far.
So let's talk about one of your give me a trail story. Give me something that just jumps out at you from your experience. I know, like you said, we were together for about, well, shit. I mean, what, only 150 miles. It seemed like.
But
Seemed
that
like.
took like 3 weeks.
I know, but it's so crazy, like the way time and space works. Because that seemed like a majority back then. It was everything.
It
Um,
was everything.
Yeah, but it was really quite small and quite short in the grand scheme. But give me an experience from something that happened on your adventure post that period, because I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about further coming.
Of our period together.
No, something that I wasn't there for, something I don't know yet, something original for
Oh,
the folks.
I'm trying to pin one down.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
quite a
All
few.
right, well let's do it this way. What were some of your favorite kind of towns that you went into? What areas
Oh, my
did you like
favorite
most?
towns. That's
Yeah,
a good topic.
yeah.
Um, let's see. My favorite towns. I had one. What was it?
See, that's my problem too. I can't remember the names of anything.
No, I had one in my head and it left me.
Franklin. Franklin was not a good experience. We're not going to get into that.
Franklin was not a good experience, and we won't touch on that.
That may be a similar topic down the road, but that is we're going to leave that one alone.
Yeah, we're not going to touch that one. The bad of the trail reared its ugly head. We'll just say that. Let's see, my favorite town.
There was one for me that was up before the Aqua Blaze. I think it was like mile 800, maybe 8 or 900. Was it not Marion?
Marion was a blast.
Marion was cool, yeah.
Marion was cool. Yeah, I ended up going in there. I stayed there like 4 nights total. We came into Marion and Marion, Virginia, if no one knows. Shout out to the Marion outfitter. Also, the hostel's cool as hell there. Yeah, we came in early because we were getting out of the rain one time, and I needed to get new shoes, so that worked out. And then we went back out and hiked to Partnership Shelter. I think we got off at Elk Garden first time, and then got off again at when we hit Partnership Shelter where you can order the pizza.
Oh, right.
Went back in. We weren't going to zero. It was myself, Jersey, and Magic, and we ran into the big boy and that whole and the mud bug and Happy Feet and all that crew. We all decided to zero and pretty much, I think, 4 hotel rooms at the Roach Motel, and we all walked down to the movie theater or the drive-in, watched Fast and the Furious 10, and we're very upset that it wasn't the last one.
That was the hostel above the outfitter, right?
Above the outfitter. Yeah, the Marion. Yeah.
Super big shout out to, I forget his name, but the owner of that, the owner over there.
Coach?
What was
Coach,
it?
I think.
Coach?
I think his name's Coach.
I don't remember it.
We'll have to fact check that.
Yeah, but shout out to him. Super
this is
cool.
a great time to introduce our producer, my
Ladies
homie,
and gentlemen,
Snap Shot.
The one, the only.
The one and the only. Husband of the Teardrop.
Excellent, folks. Met early before trail days.
Yeah. I met them in Gatlinburg. We had a blast.
Yeah, super
kids
cool.
for 3 days because the weather was horrible. So that's when I met Snapshot and Teardrop, and we hiked quite a while together. I think until Hot Springs-ish. Am I right, Snapshot?
You said right around
there. Yeah. Marion was a really good spot to stay early on in trail.
Yeah.
For sure. I wasn't too head over heels with Damascus. Hot Springs was cool, but not having any cell phone service.
Yeah, and it was
the whole
tiny.
town.
It wasn't a big town. It was very small.
No, and I got a booger, so edit that out.
That's lovely.
Go to Guapo's thing.
Zoom in right there.
Yeah. So I mean, I'd say like that in the southern third of the trail would be Marion. Would be one of my.
Yeah, and you know what? Most of the cooler towns, to be honest, were down there. They were down south. Definitely. I don't want to say kinder people, but kinder people as well.
I don't know. New England, I was very surprised with how polite the New England people were.
For sure. The south of the north.
It was just a different kind of nice.
Yeah. Well,
just different kind.
For sure. The Old Colony Ski Club, major shout out to them. Some of the coolest folks we've met on trail, period.
Innkeeper Gin. I love Innkeeper Gin. So, yeah, I mean, I would have to say, Marion for that, my favorite town in the the first third.
Yeah, I like Franklin a lot. If our experience wasn't the one that we had, it would definitely be on my top list of like my top 3. I thought Franklin was awesome.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, it was easy. The food was good.
Food was good. Breweries and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Franklin was a good town. Very hiker friendly.
Yeah, very much so. So, Mr. Mayor, Kenny Powers, What?
Dude, it's been a minute since I heard that shit.
Mr. Mayor, so Kenny Powers over here is, I don't know if you guys can tell yet, but a very outspoken individual. being
That makes it sound bad.
Yeah, no, it's actually something to be envious of. He very much has that ability to just approach anyone and start a conversation up about absolutely what the fuck ever. Myself, on the other hand, hiding in the corner, just watching, making sure nothing crazy goes down. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mr. Mayor lives up to the name. The more you guys get to know us, get to know him, you'll see. And already,
well, actually,
pre-recording of this, Mr. Mayor has already let me know of some pretty significant people that somehow he's gotten himself in touch with, and we may be, possibly doing some really neat collaborations down the road. That couldn't be done without Mr. Mayor.
I also, we'll put it out there that I'll be on a podcast mid-November of a local podcast here in Denver. I just kind of lucked into my sister's boss's friend, found out I had hiked the trail, and has a couple friends that do a podcast, and they immediately they want me to come through. So that podcast is called Discussion Combustion. You can find it on YouTube, Spotify, all that stuff. Go check them out. They're really good. They're really good interviewers. So I look forward to working with that and doing that. I think it's been great to link up and record our first episode of Trash Talk. It's been hectic, but we've, in less than a month, figured out how to record our first one. So good fucking job, homie. Thanks for the dedication.
My brother, right back at you. Where can people find us online?
We'll throw it up here on the screen real fast. I'm Kenny
there.
Powers on Trail on Instagram and on YouTube.
My Instagram is Idiot in the Woods. All underscores in between, so idiot_in, blah, 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 so on, so on. I do have a YouTube, which basically has not had anything really on it anymore. That is also Idiot in the Woods. No underscores on that one.
That will be a discussion for later of why we have YouTubes if we haven't posted since week 3.
Right. Yeah. We can do a whole episode on that.
We are going to be releasing this hopefully on YouTube and hopefully get on Spotify or whatever, release it. And
as we evolve more, there will be more specific accounts and stuff. We're going to have to do Instagram and Facebook pages, Twitter.
Well, we'll have an Instagram page. We're going to try to get it, we'll put that out on our personal pages. So go ahead and go over to our pages, give us a follow. And
if you guys want to at all email us, you can email us directly at...
No, just put it up on the screen.
That right there.
Okay, so episode 2, we'll probably try to film that in a couple weeks. We're going to try to put out 2 podcasts a month right now. Let's see how that works, and we're working on getting a couple guests lined up in the near future. And fuck yeah.
Yeah, got some really cool shit coming your guys' way.
Stay in the loop. Give us a follow. Thank you all. And Guapo, thank you for swinging by. Snapshot, thank you for popping in and lending a little bit of expert hand here. Later, everybody.
Love you.
Why people climb mountains? Is it just to reach the top and see the view? Well, I tell you something. Every rock and every river, every sword and every splinter, I would climb every mountain with you.